Huge drop for Bitcoin today, ladies and gents. We've managed to see Bitcoin fall below that 95k level right now, setting a low at about 93.5. We're basically probably on our way back down to this $90,000 zone of support. It's never failed for Bitcoin since we flipped this level for the first time ever. And obviously, we've been in this range now pretty much for 97 days. So, we're starting to close it. We've already done 3 months. We're going to start closing in on 4 months in the sideways range now. And before we talk about what all of this means, you guys already know the deal. I always bring very realistic, grounded approaches to these markets with you guys. And what that means is we actually need to put this in context of what's actually going on. Yeah, a lot of people are not going to do this, but that's not why you're here on this YouTube channel. We're going to be doing this properly. So smash up those likes if you do appreciate all of that. And by the way, those of you that are interested in some really, really cool benefits for trading can check out that Bybit link down below. If you're a VIP member on Bybit, you're going to get a debit card for free that you can spend anywhere in the world. I've spent it all over the world. It is so cool. And you're going to get a ton of free trading bonuses when you start trading using this link in the description. So check it out. It's the best platform in the game, hands down. And you're getting amazing sign-on bonuses as well. So really, really cool stuff. Blowfin is a great alternative if you don't want to trade on Bybit as well. But let's bring it back to the video. Obviously, by the way, always be mindful that you're not from a restricted region. But bringing it back to the video, the main context that we need to put this in is, just this general market trend that we've been seeing since the bottom, right? Basically, since this bottom down here at 15K, this market has had a series of pretty clear consolidation events that look a little bit like this. That's one of them. We had another one right here that looks a little bit like this. And clearly, we're in another one right now that spans all the way up here. I think more reasonably we can just kind of draw it like that. And what's really interesting is, this one lasted 223 days. So, that's about 7 months. This one lasted about 210 days. So that's also 7 months. And like I said, this one we're closing in on 4, right? So we can't do any analysis without putting this into perspective first. This is a really good level of support. And if it holds, we're probably coming back up to the top. And that's easily going to add another, just with my like super rough drawings, that's basically going to add another month. That'll put us up to about month 5. So, it's very, very clear that we're in one of these kind of consolidation events right now, but I don't think that the market feels the same. Oh man, I don't think market participants feel the same way about it. I think that they're actually probably a lot more upset about this, which is completely fine, right? We're not really, happy or upset about that. We're just kind of observing what people in the market are feeling and saying, because it's important for us, right? If we start seeing that everybody gets really, 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 really bearish at that $91,000 support level, then, well, guess what? It's like I said, that's a support level, right? So I wouldn't actually be worried about that. That wouldn't make me feel scared about this market. Just a second, gents and ladies and gents. I forget, we've got like, inhaled my water there. We've got like 10% female viewership on this channel, which is interesting because it's been growing. It used to be like, 2 or 3%, but yeah, my bad. Yeah, really, really good zone of support here. And I think that if we just start seeing that everybody's like super bearish down at that level, then, that's going to make me feel pretty confident that we're actually going to be able to bounce off this pretty well. And if we do, that's probably going to turn this zone into at least a, short-term zone of resistance. It's been pretty formidable, I'd say pretty, like, useful support, for this market. I mean, Bitcoin's basically been trying to break this level for, literally, like, 2 weeks straight now, and it just couldn't get below 95, right? So this is definitely still an important level, and that means this is the bounce zone. So, as far as trades go, this is kind of like the obvious one, right? Like you look for a long, you kind of try and get these wicks out of your way. So maybe just a little bit further. And, entry kind of anywhere in this range, like, 90,800 is pretty sweet. That's a 3.6 risk to reward, actually a little bit more if we do it right to the top. And if we do it to the first resistance level, it's still a 2, which is, it's okay. It's not good, but it's okay. And so this is kind of, the next kind of obvious setup that I'm seeing. I think I would also have to put it in perspective of traditional finance, right? And If we do take a look at the S&P 500, which has reopened trading today, yesterday was a national holiday in America. I think it was like President's Day or something. We've got the S&P 500 looking, pretty damn sweet. I mean, I really don't know what else you could want from this chart right now. It basically, set its all-time high off the back of Trump getting elected, which was obviously, mind you, a completely news-driven event, right? Like, that was just all news. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you're getting a big news-driven event and then the market kind of just stays there even after the event happens, that's pretty strong, right? Like, typically you get a news-driven event and that's the end, right? Like, you have all of the hype up until the news, and then the news happens and you just start dropping. But that's clearly not what happened over here. And so I think that alone represents a lot of strength for US equities, and of course, just more specifically, the S&P 500 index. And so, I think, and this is the thing that I say, and I've been saying this to my close friends a lot more recently than I say it on YouTube, but I say it on YouTube as well. I really think that analyzing Bitcoin at this stage is futile, and really not worth much time at all. Beyond, I mean, we can do little bits of analysis like what we've done so far, but really, if if you're looking at Bitcoin trying to figure out which way it's going to go, it's almost like looking at a meme coin on the Solana trenches and then asking which way is Bitcoin going to go. Like, it's not going to be representative of itself. What's going to be representative of Bitcoin is the S&P 500, because Bitcoin is treated the same way, right? Like, we got to keep in mind, Bitcoin, the people that are in these markets are, when they buy Bitcoin, first they would have had to buy other assets which are less risky. And if those assets are going up, mainly the S&P 500 being a really good example of it, if those assets are going up, then you got a pretty clear situation here where Bitcoin might see some speculation as well. Okay, so that's a really big point that I think everybody misses. And if we look at this chart, I mean, like I said, it's held up really well. It had a nice pullback. What was this pullback? Let's measure it. This was a 5% pullback, right? So it's not tiny, especially for the S&P 500. And, then it's just consolidating at the all-time high. Like, right now, this is where it is, right? So it's looking really good to me. I mean, for the S&P 500 to invalidate this, it would probably have to get below 6K, and I'd be like, okay, that's probably not good. We're at least coming back down to 5.8, and then, below that, obviously, we can continue to draw more support lines. But, just as far as this looks right now, I think it's looking pretty damn good. And so, again, we bring it back to Bitcoin, and we try and ask ourselves, okay, well, what's Bitcoin going to do? And I think it looks pretty damn clear to me that, if we keep the S&P 500 in good posture, then this is going to be a really reliable support bounce again. Now, on the off chance that it's not, right? Because we might, just collapse straight through it. We might, bounce and kind of come back down. We might fall down and go sideways and then, whatever. But let's say it's a bearish outcome. However it happens, we end up dropping. As we already know, the only price history that Bitcoin has ever had between its all-time high over here and 90K, the only price action it ever had was right here, okay? So, as we know very well, those of you that are subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're going to know that these are actually the most fertile trading ranges you can possibly get as a trader. This is what you're looking for. And the reason for that is this is a huge range, right? Basically, if I were to draw another box to kind of represent this level for you guys, let's say that it's right here. I mean, this is an extremely large move, from edge to edge. This is still an 18.5% move. And from the top to the bottom, it's a 21.5% move. So it's a really big range for trades. And like I said, those of you that are interested in trading, especially if you guys got that free cash as well, really cool to be able to deploy that on the market. Like I said, you get it when you start trading using these links. A lot of you, by the way, have signed up, but you haven't got your bonuses. The reason you didn't get your bonuses is because you haven't started trading. So once you do that, Bybit will credit that to you. And same for Blofin as well, if you're trading on Blofin. But this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because this is a huge gap, and positions can make a lot of money in this range, just kind of selling, going short into it, whatever, and kind of playing that volatility down, because I just don't really expect it to find support anywhere in between. Now, I am hearing a lot of people saying that, 85 or whatever could be support, but I just want to put this on the chart and ask you, like, what do you think is significant about 85K? I mean, we got 2 wicks here on on the 4-hour time frame. And that's it. Like, that's literally the only interaction Bitcoin has ever had with the $85,000 support level, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. And so, I mean, I get it. I can understand why a lot of people are kind of thinking that, we kind of fall in and, kind of halfway out, whatever. I see it, this would basically be a deviation, and it makes sense. I understand, and I actually agree. I think that stuff is possible. But another big thing that I want to keep in mind is, we get two kind of breakouts from this kind of range, right? The first that we're going to be kind of dealing with is we go sideways, we get a deviation, and we're back in the game, right? So that is basically what happened. I think it was on this chart. I drew it for you. Yeah. So basically, we've got our range here. This is the top of the range. This is the bottom, and we've basically had a deviation up top, but we returned back to the range. We had another deviation, and then we returned back to the range, right? So is it possible that we do the same thing on the downside? Yeah, 100%. It's actually pretty likely. And so that's something that I'd be kind of keeping an eye out for. And that's why, like I said, I'd be having some stop loss protection if I was going for that kind of long position. But, deviations, they do get pretty extreme these days, so that might not even save you. But what I do think is important is, I mean, first of all, anybody that's going short would basically have their shorts like triggered around here. Maybe deviation comes down to here, but that's enough time to move the stop loss to break even, right? So if you turn out to be wrong, it doesn't matter. You're not going to lose any money. And then kind of the same thing on the upside, right? Like if we manage to bounce, then we kind of, like by this point, that stop loss should already be back at break even rather than down here. And that way, there's no chance of losing money. This is a really big deal. A lot of people miss it. You guys know this YouTube channel is, entirely focused on legitimate real trading rather than pushing marketing schemes and rug pulling. I would have made so much more money if I did, by the way, but here we are. And so because we're keeping it super realistic and grounded as traders, one of the big things that I want you guys to really, really understand very thoroughly is that you can have the wrong trade idea and still make money off it. And the way to do that is simply moving your stop loss to break even. It's really a superpower. It really makes you very, very invincible. You can take risks, and then you can eliminate risk completely, and you can still enjoy the upside. And if that is not the definition of free money, then I don't know what is. If you've got a stop loss at break even and the price keeps on moving in a profit, you have zero risk at that point, and you have all of the upside to gain. So it's really, really good. It's really, really healthy. It keeps your capital safe. You need good stop loss management. You need good risk management. It's chapter 1, page 1 of any trading, handbook is you need to not lose your fucking money. And the best way to do that is to exercise really good risk management. So, I think that's important. But yeah, like I said, two ways I see this happening, right? You get that deviation and you kind of return to the mean, or you get that confirmed break. And, the thing that I think is important is, you look at how long we've been in this range for. And, it's now been, like I said, over 3 months. We're going to start to close in on 4 months here. And that means that, any breakout is at this stage, we're going to be treating it a little bit more seriously, right? As time goes on, the pressure goes up. It doesn't go down. And so, if it does end up dropping, I would probably have to expect that, we're coming down to this kind of 70K range. But, at the same time, if the S&P 500 is not, dropping, then I just won't expect Bitcoin to drop down that low. So that's kind of what it really boils down to, right? Like if Bitcoin manages to take itself down to like 91K and the S&P is still right here, or it's only down here at like 6K flat or whatever, just a little bit lower, it's like that's not really going to concern me at all. It's only if the S&P starts to lose posture where I'd be like, okay, this Bitcoin price action's now looking a little bit concerning, but that hasn't happened yet, and I'm not going to bet that it is going to happen because I don't need to, right? I mean, right now, I'm just keeping it grounded. I'm just keeping it real and legit with you guys, ladies and gents, and, we're pretty clearly still in a sideways trading range, still inside of a very, very, very bullish market environment. I'm just not the kind of guy that's going to argue with that. You know what I mean? Like if the market's making me money, and you guys have seen the long position I was in, just thousands and thousands of percent in profit. If the market is making me money, why the hell should I, jump in the way of that and slow that down just because I got a little bit too caught up in 14 days of price action and I cannot retain objectivity. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. It's pathetic. And it really doesn't work if you're managing money, right? Like, especially if you're managing larger sums of money, you can't have that attitude. You know, you need to be able to keep yourself a lot more grounded than that. And that's exactly, again, what we do here on this YouTube channel. Let's look at the Fear and Greed Index real quick as well, which I think it's nearly done. We got 4 hours left. We're seeing a reading of 47, 51, 40. We're just neutral now. We're back to neutral territory, and we're probably even going to see this drop when it updates. Hopefully it drops a little bit deeper into fear. And I mean, all of this is happening while Bitcoin's coming down to a really good support level inside of a 4-month consolidation where the trend is clearly that we consolidate for like 7 months at a time. It's just a fucking buy, ladies and gents. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just looks like a buy to me because of that. It's not even to say that it's definitely going to make money, right? What we understand as traders, and if you don't get this, then here you are. This is the best part of the video for you. Smash up the likes for it. Double check, of course, that you're subscribed. The number one thing we're looking for as traders is not to be 100% correct. And it's not to be 100% correct in this situation. I just want something where, on balance, overall, I can feel pretty comfortable taking this same risk over and over and over and over again. And if that's what I'm looking for, then this is the best damn setup I've seen on the chart in a long time, right? Like, I'm not saying that I'm going to be right about this, but I am saying that the probabilities are probably on my side, just from what I'm seeing. So I think that's really, really important. Let me try drinking this without choking this time. There we go. Good stuff. We love that filtered water hydration. Moving on, Bitcoin's dominance is looking pretty sweet. Bitcoin's dominance has managed to bounce off this zone, which was previously resistance. So that's fucking lights out for anybody in altcoins right now. This doesn't mean that it has to skyrocket again. But again, we're talking about probabilities. And when you get back tests, you fucking explode, right? Like, we know this very, very well. When you manage to, let's draw a slightly smaller circle. That's like basically the same size. Let me draw another circle here. Bear with me, guys. And I hope you're doing well, by the way. We haven't been on this, I haven't been on this channel very much lately. And that's purely because the market wasn't moving, right? But, obviously when the market is moving, you already know that we're going to be right back here on the 4Flies YouTube channel. By the way, if we do come back here, though, if we do take a look at Bitcoin's dominance, it manages to get above this zone of resistance, spikes up above it, comes back down for that kiss of life, spikes up above it, comes back down, and again, and then bam, sets a new high, does the same thing off this level, very, very nearly, doesn't quite come back down, but very, very nearly, and then we set a new high, and now it's happened again, right? So again, like, I'm not saying that it's definitely going to go up, but my God, I am saying that the probabilities are probably still on my side, and really, that's the best you're going to get as a trader. And if you're looking for anything else, as a trader, then you're gonna get yourself in trouble. Okay, you're gonna get yourself in trouble. So we're not looking to overstep and kind of get things in our analysis that are not super realistic. We want to stay grounded here. But if Bitcoin dominance is looking like it's gonna kind of move up again, then that obviously probably represents, it either means Bitcoin goes up or down. It doesn't really matter because Bitcoin's dominance goes up regardless. We've seen Ethereum, pick up a little bit of strength, and it was really funny. Basically, everybody fell out of love with Solana for like 2 business minutes because Javier Milei, or whatever that Argentinian guy is, he basically launched a rug pull, and he had the most pathetic excuses for it afterwards. It was absolutely brilliant. Nothing less. Nothing more. It's exactly what you'd expect from a politician. Of course, he seemed to be one of the more based politicians, but being based won't stop you from rug pulling, apparently. And obviously, the result of that, I don't think it's obvious at all, actually, but surprisingly, the result of that is that everybody hates Solana now because it's used by scammers, apparently, right? But let's make one thing very, 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 very clear, ladies and gents. We do not base how we view tokens or coins in crypto based on if a lot of scams are run out of them, right? Based on if a lot of scams come out of that ecosystem. We don't judge the parent token for that. And the reason for that is because if that's what we did, then we would never fucking touch Bitcoin, and we certainly would never touch the US dollar or any other home country currency that we have, okay? So that's completely baseless, and it's not why people stopped using Solana. No, the real reason that people stopped using Solana, the real reason that people started selling Solana off is because it set a brand new all-time high, ladies and gents. It was performing really, really well. It started looking a little bit weak, and it needed to collapse below support. It happened at the same time as the rest of the market. Solana just happened to have a lot more hype behind it, which means it was able to drop down a little bit more extremely as well. And at the very, very same time, there was a little bit of that self-fulfilling prophecy that I was mentioning about people disliking Solana, and some of that money flowing into Ethereum as well. So that's the real kind of mechanics behind what happened. You might have kind of been watching it. Maybe you didn't even know. Maybe you're wondering what happened. But hopefully you can see that what I've just said in the last few minutes is completely based in logic. It's completely based in fact. And there's very, very little speculation in what I just said. It's really just things that make sense. And guess what, ladies and gents? If you take that approach all the time in these markets, you're going to find out that you're actually right much more often than you're wrong. Because really it is just, these things do just boil down to common sense. It's if we stopped using a coin because people scam with that coin, then the whole of the fucking crypto space would be obsolete, right? So that's definitely not what's happening here. But if we do look at these alts and we kind of look at where they're going, I mean, Ethereum against Bitcoin, it's looking like it kind of wants to get a little bit higher into this 0.3 range. If it happens, we might expect resistance. That's what happened last time, right? Twice. So it could definitely happen again. I would kind of I'd kind of expect that we kind of fall back down into this range. But really, I think it depends on Bitcoin's dominance. I think that if Bitcoin's dominance, kind of picks up, and especially if it kind of tries to go up toward, 70, which, by the way, is really possible. I really want you guys to know that. I mean, this is exactly what happened in the last market cycle. And it happened in all of the same ways, by the way. We're a little bit slower this time. We've had more of a kind of perfect 45 degrees. Previously, it was a lot faster with more extreme pullbacks. But, this time we're not really even getting that. And last time it managed to get up to 70, a few times. So, if that does end up happening, it is probably going to be pretty bad, for Ethereum against Bitcoin, and then by extension, everything else as well. I mean, look at Solana against Bitcoin. It's fallen down to a really good level of support, but it fell below support, right? I mean, it's losing ground here, and I think the big problem for Solana is that if it loses this level against Bitcoin, at least, there is no strong support level for quite some time. For quite a bit, below this level. So this is something to be watching out for as well. I think the Bitcoin pairs really are where, all the money is right now, and just kind of observing the market and kind of understanding what's going on. So, pretty interesting developments here. I mean, just seeing these coins kind of drop down. Look at Binance against Bitcoin now, basically just hanging on. I mean, this is like really, really asking for trouble, this chart. I mean, look at how big this move was. There's really no support on the way down. We got extremely lucky with this bounce over here, and we got extremely lucky with this second bounce again. But how many more bounces like this are we able to produce, right? Especially if Bitcoin's dominance goes up again. So, I think it's something to keep in mind. I think that if Bitcoin, falls down to this, 90, I don't know where my lines are. Yeah, right here. I think if Bitcoin falls down to this 91K level, we see Bitcoin's dominance come back up. But I think that if it has an explosive reaction rally, we're still probably, I think, going to see Bitcoin's dominance going up. So I don't know. I do think, however, and I want to make this very clear, I do think that this market has now shifted to a point because of how low these coins are against the dollar and how low they are against Bitcoin. I do think that this is now a pretty smart time to start investing, dollar cost averaging into those altcoins. I personally have not done any of that yet. I don't even know if I want to be honest. I really like being in Bitcoin. I don't mind if I miss out on some gains because I trade anyway. So, I haven't really fully decided. I've been going back and forth for a while. I thought, I'm definitely going to get in. And to be honest, I think I should still. I think I will, but I don't know. I just haven't started yet, and if I miss the boat, that's fine with me too, because I'm just really not that desperate to be in alts. I just don't like them. I don't like them. I haven't liked them for a long time, and a bloody good thing that is, because I would have lost a lot of money. I mean, that's kind of the state of affairs in this market right now, unfortunately, is that Everybody, was not in Bitcoin during these rallies because, they wanted more exposure in altcoins, but altcoins did not perform so well, and so a lot of people have capitulated, and, you might start seeing people moving back into Bitcoin. You're probably just going to see a lot of people sidelined, and I think that really the most realistic scenario is that Bitcoin does, whatever it takes to get back above, the 100K level, and actually it gets substantially higher than 100K, but I think that at the same time, we're going to see very few people holding Bitcoin because everybody would have sold because they're angry. And then, probably 130, 120K, whatever is where, you might start seeing a lot of people buying back in, and that can actually send this thing up toward like 150 pretty realistically, I think, pretty damn realistically. So there you go, ladies and gents. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been a nice little 25-minute. If you have, you know exactly what to do. Check out those links in the description if you're not from a restricted region to get tons and tons of bonuses when you start trading using the links below. Signing up alone will not give you the bonuses. You do have to actually start trading, but once you do, you're good to go. And those of you that are VIP on Bybit, which just basically depends on how much you trade and how much you deposit, you're actually going to be able to get the Bybit debit card, like I said, so you can spend that anywhere in the world, which is really, really cool. So check them all out if you are interested, if you are allowed to, by your country's local laws and regulations. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you smash up those likes, subscribe to the bell, all the good stuff, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.